Hello everyone. Welcome in. Hi there, A. I know you had messaged us and I can't forget what your full name was now, but hello, A. Let's see. Josu, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but welcome into you. Janica, Augustina, Ethan Casey, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Well, thank you for joining us for a little bit of time, but if you gotta go, you gotta go, but happy birthday to you. And Top Nail and Sandra, and let's see, Lucia, DeMarie, Diana. You guys, I apologize if I pronounce your names wrong. They scroll so quickly and sometimes I can't actually focus on them, but welcome to you. Even if I do pronounce your name, I apologize, or pronounce it wrong, I apologize. But thank you for being here. Much appreciated. Love it that you are here. Welcome, welcome. I want a little bit more light there. Okay, there we go. So how is everyone doing today? Hopefully you guys are doing great. Hopefully you guys joined us yesterday and heard me say that somebody commented that I needed my nails filled. And you guys, I did fill my nails. And today I'm going to show you exactly how I did these. I did mine on gel, but I'm going to show you guys in acrylic. So today we're going to do acrylic. If you have joined us on our Discord channel, you've already seen all of the products that we're going to be using today. I always do try to post all of our products, so if you want to work along with me, they are there for you before the start of the live stream so that you can gather all of your goodies, work along with me. But if you didn't get a chance to check out our Discord, and you didn't get a chance to see what we're going to be working with today, I do have everything in front of me here. We're going to be using our Speed Clear, and you guys, this is all acrylic, so Speed Clear acrylic. We're going to be using our Speed Pink acrylic. We're going to be using our Cover Blush, and then we're also going to be using a couple of different glitters. We've got Chonky Chonks and Crushed Pearl. You guys, our products now come, our glitters and our Mylars, those now come in the larger sizes here. I still have some left over in my original packaging from way long ago. Glitter doesn't spoil, you guys. Glitter doesn't go bad. So if you have glitter from years ago, it's still good to use. Don't throw that away. So let's go ahead and get started on our nail. Let's see here. Let me move a couple of things around. Now, we're going to be doing two nails because you guys, I'm going to show you the design that I've got on here, but then we're also going to do just a solid color nail so you can kind of see how I put those colors together into a set, okay? But we're going to prep two nails to start with. I've got both of them ready to go here. We're going to start by prepping and just pushing back the cuticles. And I always tell you guys, practice pushing back the cuticles on the trainer hands as well, not just when you get to that real client, because everything that you do on these trainer hands is what you're practicing to do on a real person. And if you're not practicing pushing back those cuticles, most likely you're going to forget to do that on your real clients. So make sure that you're pushing back those cuticles, at least kind of go through the motion of it. I mean, you guys saw, I didn't spend a whole ton of time here really working on that cuticle. I just go through that motion really quick just to make sure that I still have that in my head when I go to my real clients. Now I've put my Mandrel and sanding band onto my electric file here. The sanding band that I'm using is a medium grit, so it's about the same grit as what our 150 grit hand files are. Okay, so it's a gentle kind of a bit. It's not going to grind away if used properly. So you guys, you want to make sure that as you're working and as you're prepping these nails, you want to make sure that basically you're going to be making contact. You're not going to be putting a lot of pressure with this bit, just making contact and moving. We're going to work in a little bit of a circular motion up by the cuticle area as well, but making contact, you guys, that's the big thing that you want to remember. Now I am going to turn my speed on my E-file down to about 5,000 RPMs. So this is very slow, it's very gentle. Again, I could do this on my hand, on my skin here, on that kind of delicate skin, all over my hand, you guys, just by making contact, okay? Again, making contact and kind of taper, kind of feathering that bit is what we're going to be using. Somebody's asking in the chat, would it be fine to use a 240 grit file? When you're prepping, you guys, I don't recommend using anything that fine. When you're prepping, you actually want to get a little bit of texture to that nail surface. So if you're using a 240 grit, that's actually going to smooth out that nail surface too much. And especially if you're working with gel or even a gel polish, a 240 is going to be too fine and it's going to not allow that product to kind of grip onto the nail, okay? You want to make sure that you do have just a little bit of texture, just like I do here on this nail now, okay? You can see it's not smooth. Let me grab my buffer here. Now the buffer that I've got here, this is a 180, but if you were to go through and just buff out that surface, instead of using, say, that 150 or that medium grit file, if you take a look, you can see the difference between these. Let me come in a little bit closer here for you. If you just use that buffer, you're going to be creating too smooth of a surface. What we want is just a little bit of texture. Now you guys notice I didn't grind away this nail. I didn't damage this nail, but I didn't smooth it out like this one is, okay? You have to have that little bit of grit to that natural nail, okay? So good question, you guys, and feel free, ask your questions in the chat. I do try to see what's going on in the chat, but sometimes it moves too quickly and I don't catch all of those questions. But we've got a great team of moderators here that can help answer those as well. You guys, if you still have questions after the chat, you can always text us. I'm going to give you the text number, and we'll talk about another reason you would want the text number after a while here. But text us at 714-274-7323. Maybe our moderators can get that into the chat if they have a second. But you guys, you can always text us. You can always DM us. You can comment on our videos and comment on our posts, and we always try to answer all of your questions for you. Okay, so feel free, ask your questions. We love to try to help. Okay. All right, so prepped our first two nails. So the reason that we prep, we kind of talked about creating texture on that nail, but the other thing we're trying to do is break up the surface oils. You guys see how shiny this nail looks? This is how kind of a natural nail is going to look. Once we've prepped it, it's going to take away that shine. What that shine is oils in the surface of your nail. And we want to break up those oils and remove those. So again, our product is going to have really good adhesion. Okay, so that's what we're doing at this point of prepping. Okay, we removed that shine, we broke up those surface oils. I'm dusting off this nail, and now we're going to come in with our cleanser. So I'm going to use Swipe. Swipe is our cleanser. This is designed to remove any germs, any bacteria, any excess oils that may still be left on that nail. And it's going to leave us with a nice, clean, balanced surface so that our product is going to adhere really well. Okay, so just kind of dusting through that with that little bit of Swipe on there, and we want to wait until this completely dries now. So we want to make sure, we kind of come in a little closer here. So after you've dusted that off and scrubbed it, you can see it looks pretty wet at this point, and now we're going to wait until that looks dry. So it's going to go back to kind of that chalky look. It's going to go back to looking like this nail did. Okay, now you start to see that kind of get to that little bit drier point, and the longer we wait, the more it's going to look perfectly dry. Now, the reason that I really kind of emphasize waiting for that product to dry is because our next product we're going to use is called Protein Bond. And Protein Bond is our bonder. It works like a double-sided tape, so it's going to stick down to that natural nail, but it's going to leave a sticky surface for our product to grab onto. Now, if we were to apply this to that wet surface, you guys, I told you that Swipe is designed to remove any excess oils, any contaminants on that nail. It's going to basically try to remove the Protein Bond. So if we're putting Protein Bond onto that wet surface with the Swipe on it, it's going to kind of null and void that Protein Bond. So make sure, that's why we need to make sure to let that Swipe completely dry before we add our Protein Bond. Now I'm adding 2 coats of Protein Bond. I always do 2 coats when I'm working on enhancements, whether it's acrylics or hard gels. I always do 2 coats. This way I'm going to get really good adhesion, and I know that I've got even coverage all the way through that nail. Now also notice that as I'm applying this, I don't just start with my brush right at that cuticle area and brush forward. I actually start in the center, and then I work out towards the sides, and then I work back towards that cuticle area. What that does is it's actually going to keep my product from flooding into that cuticle. Okay. Now, I know that I said that Protein Bond works like a double-sided tape, and we want to use that for really good adhesion. But here's the thing, if you do accidentally get that protein bond up on that skin and on that cuticle, down along those sidewalls, that's going to work, like I said, a double-sided tape or even an anchor. So it's going to kind of anchor down and pull all of that product that we put on top of it all the way down into those sidewalls, which we don't want to happen. So that's why we want to make sure we're keeping that product off the skin, off of those sidewalls, and just on the nail. Now, the other reason we want to make sure that we're keeping it just on the nail is because we don't want to overexpose our clients to any chemicals or anything like that, okay? So very important to make sure that we keep that right on the nail. All right, we're going to come in with our forms. I'm going to grab one of our forms. We're going to be sculpting a couple of nails here. And to sculpt on a form, I'm going to take that little tab right out of the middle. I'm going to stick that on the back of my form, and you guys, you can put it with the shiny side up, the YN logo up, or you can stick it down with the sticky side down. Just a personal preference. It's going to work either way. But the reason that we put that little form on the back, or that little tab on the back, is it's going to give our form a little bit more durability. It's going to kind of keep that from feeling kind of flimsy, so it's going to just give our form a little bit more durability. Now we are going to pinch those two little silver tabs here. We're going to pinch those together nice and even. We want to get those even as possible, so that way our nail is going to be nice and straight, okay? Now, you guys, I'm going to show you, today we're going to do a little bit more of an active length nail. So I'm going to show you this kind of nail, and then for this design, I'm going to show you a little bit longer nail. So you get 2 for 1 today. But when we're working on a shorter nail, it's easier if you start by pinching that form a little bit shorter before you even put that on. So now I have the length down to here. Let me come in a little closer so you can see better. So I'm going to bring product from here to here. So that's why I pinched it a little bit shorter. If you want it even shorter, you can go even shorter. Okay, so that's going to be the length that we're working with. We're also going to open up that little perforation at the top, and then we'll get this right up underneath the nail. Now, when you're putting forms on, I see people do this a lot, especially beginners. If they're not used to putting forms on, they tend to go straight in and just kind of shove that form right up underneath that nail. You guys, I don't know about you, I have a hyponychium right under here that kind of grows out a little bit. We all have a hyponychium. What that is the skin that connects that nail, that hard nail plate to your fingertip. Okay, it's that little skin right underneath. And if we're going to come in and just shove that form right up under there, that's going to poke into that hyponychium, and that's going to be painful for our client. So we want to make sure we're not just jamming that right up underneath there. What we want to do is start at a slight downward angle. Let me turn this on the side so you can see about where I'm at. So we want to start at a slight downward angle, just kind of like that. So getting it right up underneath that natural nail, catch that free edge, and then we're going to just lift up until that form comes straight out from that free edge, okay? Then we can secure that down on the sides. Now, if we take a look at this from the free edge, looks like it's a little bit crooked, so I want to make sure that's nice and straight, coming straight out from that finger. And you guys, I am even going to use my orange wood stick to check if this is straight out from that finger. So what I do to check if it's straight out is, let me adjust the camera so it's nice and straight on there. So I will line up my orange wood stick from the knuckle to nail. We actually have one more knuckle in there somewhere. So from knuckle to knuckle to knuckle to nail. And that way you're going to know if it's straight. So if your form is straight, the orange wood stick should come straight down with this bold line down the center of the form. So if we hold that straight in line from knuckle to knuckle down through the nail, my form is nice and straight, okay? Somebody's saying in the chat, it looks painful. You guys, that's what I was talking about. If you put your forms on correctly, it's not going to be painful. But let me show you. Okay? Let me show you what happens if you don't put your forms on correctly. Like I was saying, if you just take that form, pinch those tabs, and just kind of, whoops, hold on to your form. If you just go in and shove that form up underneath that nail, that's what's going to be painful. That's going to be hurtful, or hurtful. Well, you guys know what I mean. That's going to hurt, okay? So Don't just shove that form right up underneath there. Start at a slight angle, catch that free edge, and then just lift up. See, as I'm lifting up, I'm not putting pressure back into that or underneath that nail. Just catch that free edge, lift up, and that's going to be right where you need it, okay? Then you can secure it down and move on. I'm going to take this form off. We're going to work one nail at a time. Sometimes on the trainer hands, those forms don't always hold. So sometimes working one nail at a time is going to be easier on the trainer hand, okay? All right, so we've got our form placed correctly. We're ready to go. So on this first nail, we're just going to do a solid color nail. And again, you guys, we're going to use cover blush. And I used to do acrylics on my nails. Now I use gel on my nails. Just a personal preference for me. Doing my own nails, working with gel is sometimes a little bit easier. But when I was working with acrylic on my nails, cover blush was always my absolute favorite color to use because it's a beautiful soft pink, but it's got a hint of a shimmer to it. And you guys, I'll tell you, camera does not do this color justice at all. It is an absolutely beautiful color. So let me come back out here and let me find my brush here real quick. So we're going to grab our Dappen dish, and I've got it cleaned out today. I don't have any monomer in there, but I always recommend before you fill up your Dappen dish, grab a lint-free wipe, or I actually have table towels that I've cut up a little bit here. Make sure that you kind of clean off that Dappen dish. Make sure that there's no residue from old acrylic in there so that you're always going to be starting with a fresh batch of monomer. And today we're going to be using our traditional liquid. This is in the pink bottles, or the pink labels. You guys make sure that if you're using pink label powders that they go with the pink label liquid. If you're using the extreme low odor liquid with the teal label, those have to go with the teal colored or teal labeled powders. I don't have one handy, but it's going to be the same color. So don't mix and match the teal with the pink traditional, okay? All right, let's go ahead and pour our liquid. So to pour my liquid, I just open up that cap. I touch my brush to the bottle, and then you're just going to pour straight down that brush. That's going to help you to just pour that product right down into your Dappen dish without spilling or anything like that. So you can see there's no dribbles down along the side of my bottle now. All right. So let's start by just picking up a pearl. Oops, sorry guys. We'll start by picking up a pearl of our acrylic here. So let's get this in here. So those of you that are new to doing nails and new to doing acrylics, this is going to be really helpful for you, okay? So when you're picking up your pearl, there we go. What you want to make sure you're doing is getting a good workable consistency. Now, what do I mean by workable? That depends on the section of the nail that you're working on. We're going to work with a different consistency on that free edge than we are going to work over the nail body. So let me show you how you're going to get the proper consistency for both. So as you're picking up your pearl, the first thing that I always like to show you guys is that when you're working with that liquid, notice that I kind of press my brush down into that Dappen dish a little bit here and there. I don't just dip in, and I'll show you why. So the reason is when you dip your brush down into that liquid, that brush itself isn't really going to saturate very much, okay? If you press that brush down, what's going to happen is those bristles are going to start to fan out. That is going to allow your brush to absorb more of that liquid into it, okay? So if you press that brush down into that Dappen dish, it's going to open up those bristles, allow that to absorb more liquid. That way you can pick up a larger pearl. If you were to just go straight down in there and just kind of dab into the liquid, you're not going to be able to pick up as much liquid. Okay, so make sure you every so often just kind of give it that little press down. You don't want to kill your brush. You don't want to be jamming it down in there all the time, but just enough to kind of at least bend those bristles a little bit and kind of spread them out. Allow that brush to absorb all of that liquid. Okay. The other thing that that's going to do by pressing your brush down is as you're working, you're kind of wiping out your brush or you're working on the nail and kind of pressing it. Those bristles get spread out, and what can happen is when they spread out like that, air gets trapped in between those. So when you go into your liquid, if you just dab down in there, it's not going to release those air bubbles out of the brush. Okay, so by going straight down in, pressing your brush down in, that's actually going to release those air bubbles and allow that liquid to absorb in again. Okay, If you guys learned anything just right there, let me know in the chat. Put a little thumbs up in the chat if you just learned something there. Let me know. And make sure you hit that subscribe button while you're at it. So as we're picking up pearls, we know how to go into our liquid now. To pick that pearl up, I want you guys to look this really close. Do you see how my brush has a little crimp right through here? That's going to make our brush oval. It's actually going to make our brush kind of a wedge shape. So by using that little crimp in there, we're going to know exactly where to work with our brush. So as I'm working, I want to, okay, just so you guys can see how wide the brush is here. If I turn that on the side, it's very narrow, okay? We always want to work with this wide side, and the darker area at the point of the brush here is where we're going to use to pick up our product. So as you're working, you're going to go into your liquid, you're going to press out the liquid from the back side of your brush. Now, we've just wiped out the liquid from the back side. Now the front side is where we have all the liquid. So when we pick up our pearl, we actually want to turn our brush over so that we're using that front side, that wet side of our brush, to pick up that pearl, okay? If you wipe out the back side and then try to use the back side, you don't have as much liquid in there to pick up the proper size pearl, okay? So keep that in mind as you're picking up your pearl. And notice that I always tap my powder down. I know a lot of people think, well, that's just common sense. But you know what, you guys? Sometimes these little tricks are not always common sense. So that's why I like to share them with you. So again, we're going to go into our liquid. We're going to tap the back side of our brush. I'm going to turn my brush over. I'm going to use the front side of my brush. Now, I'm not just going to drag my brush through there, because do you see how kind of uneven that pearl is? It's a little bit higher up here. It's not very rounded. It's actually going to be kind of dry feeling, okay? We're also not going to just jam our brush straight in or swirl that around, because what that's going to do, it's also going to give us too dry of a pearl. But do you see how I've got product all the way around my brush now? If I were to try to set that onto the nail, set that down, lift up, do you see all that residue on my brush? That's going to start to clog my brush. It's also not going to give me a very smooth, even application. So, how do we pick up a proper pearl then? Let me show you. So I'm going to go back into my liquid again, tap the back of my brush, turn my brush over so I'm using the front side of my brush. Now I'm going to do kind of what I like to call the press and pull. So I'm not just going to press and bounce, bounce, bounce into that powder. I'm going to press and pull kind of in one motion. So let me come back in here a little bit closer if I can, so you guys can really see. So again, it's going to be a press and pull all at once, because a lot of times what happens is people will go and just press in, and you see how that little bit of product gets up on the back side? We want to make sure that we're keeping that back of our brush nice and clean. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to go into our liquid, press out that back side, turn over, use the front side. We're going to press and pull, and then we're going to press, press, press. So now you can see I don't have any product on the back of my brush. My pearl is on the front side of my brush, and when I go to release that onto the nail, it's going to release completely from my brush. Okay, so whoops, make sure that you guys are doing that press and pull, and then you can bounce that brush into the powder. Okay, let's go ahead and do one full one all the way through. So again, press your brush into your liquid, tap the back side of it, turn the brush over, use the front side, press and pull, bounce, bounce, pick up that pearl, and then you can set that down onto the nail. Nice and easy, okay? Now, what do we do for the free edge versus that over the nail body area, okay? So like I said earlier, you guys, it's going to be a different consistency working here than it is here, and I'm going to show you why. When we put our product onto our form, we want to make sure that we've got good control of it. We don't want it running all over the place or anything like that. So if I were to just pick up a pearl, press, 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 and I were to set that right onto my form right away, what's going to happen is my pearl is going to start to run. You can see how that product is kind of getting out of control. I'm going to have to get in there and chase it. And a lot of times when you're chasing product like that, it's going to get gunked up in your brush and it's going to stick in your brush. Okay, so you have to be able to control that product without it gunking up your brush. How do we do that, you ask? I'm glad you asked. I know you probably didn't ask, but I'm going to show you anyways. So what we're going to do, instead of just putting that right onto the nail or onto that form, we're actually going to drain out a little bit of that liquid. So let me come back out here so I can show you. So again, we're going to go into our liquid, press out the backside. We're going to press, bounce, bounce. Now I'm going to take that pearl. I'm going to press, this is why we want that backside free. I'm going to press the backside of my brush down onto my table towel, and that's going to drain out some of that extra liquid. So now when I put that onto my form, I'm going to press that down. It's going to release from my brush. It's going to soften a little bit, but it's not going to run. So now I've got a lot more control of that product. I can press that out from side to side. I can guide it into place. I can move it wherever I want it without it running or getting out of control. Okay, so that is what we call working in clay form. So we're actually bringing that product to a thicker consistency where it is going to feel a little bit more like clay, and then you can move that around. Okay, we're going to save that that more of a wet consistency for when we're working up here over that nail body area. Okay, so I know you guys want to see the actual demonstration, so let me go ahead and, oops, my form popped off here. Let me get my form back up on there, nice and straight. So let's go ahead and readjust here, and we will go ahead and do our free edge application. So when we're working on that free edge, just like I was showing you, go into our liquid, press out the backside. I'm going to press, bounce, bounce. I'm going to take that pearl, drain that out. I'm going to set that onto my form, press that down. I'm actually going to wipe out my brush. I'm going to use the belly of my brush to press that in the center and out to the side. So now I'm getting even product all the way across. I'm going to use the edge of my brush to tuck up in the sides, and then I'm going to press that bulk right up into the corner. So pressing straight in on the side and then up into the corner. Come all the way back across. That way you're going to have nice even coverage all the way through. Use the edge of your brush and then press that bulk up into the corner. Okay. Notice that I'm pressing, you guys. I'm not just squishing all of that product up in there. Press straight in with the edge of your brush and then press out that bulk. Now let's create, I told you guys I was going to do more of an active length, didn't I? Let me bring this in a little bit. I'm going to pinch my form a little bit more there. I'm going to bring that in. We're going to make an almond shape here. So just kind of bringing that free edge in at a slight angle. And notice that I keep going back and forth from one side to the other. So this way it's going to help to keep my sidewalls nice and straight. And then I'm kind of walking my brush all the way over that surface. Again, pressing as I go. Okay. Again, keeping those sidewalls straight. And then we can kind of just round out that free edge just a little bit. All right, maybe this got a little bit longer than active length, but that's okay. We'll go with it for today. All right, so we've got our free edge built out. Okay, let's go into how we're going to work with our product over the nail body. Now, at this point, we don't want to be draining out that liquid. We want to keep our product so that it is going to, let me show you on this nail here. We want to make sure our product is now starting to flow down the nail. We want the product over that nail body to flow. So we're going to do a couple of different things. We're going to set it right at that cuticle area. We can press out that cuticle, but angle the finger downward. Okay, this is going to help to keep your product running down the length of the nail rather than off the sides. Okay, if you were to put your pearl on, let me try this one again. If you were to put your pearl on and hold that nail flat, I'll show you what's going to happen. Okay, put that on flat. Two things are going to happen. You're going to get too much product right back at the cuticle, and your product is going to start to flow down to the sides. Do you see how it's running down into the corners? If I had my finger straight down, now you'll be able to see that that product is actually starting to flow down the length of the nail. Okay, so when we're working at that cuticle, we want our product to move. We don't want to work with it in clay form like we did on our free edge. Oops, my form slipped off of there. Readjust that. Hope for the best on there. There we go. We're all good. So we want our product to float, but we still want to have control of it. So what we're going to do to keep control, we're going to press our brush in, press, bounce, bounce. We're just going to wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. Angle the finger down, press my product down onto the nail. I'm going to press in my cuticle area, press, press. I'm going to pivot and turn my brush on the side. Same thing on the other side. Press, press, pivot my brush. And then I'm going to make sure that that nail is angled straight down. So now my product is going to flow down the nail. Then I can come back in, pivot my brush onto the side here, and then I can just start to blend those edges down. Blend out, blend out, blend out. Now you guys, what I mean by pivot my brush, because I kind of rushed through that. Now let me tell you exactly what and show you what I mean by pivot my brush. Let me just get my product right where I want it there. So as you're working on the sides, when you put your product down, you're going to have your brush flat on the nail. You're going to be kind of at that angle here, but you want to work so press, press, and then pivot, which means to turn your brush on the side. I'll show you this from this angle here. Let me just clean out my brush. So we're going to go from here. We're going to press, press, pivot that brush, so turn that brush on the side, so this way you can get your product nice and tight up around that cuticle area, and if you just press flat like that, it's going to squish it out to the side. But by pivoting your brush and turning it on that edge like that, that's how you're going to get that really nice rounded kind of tapered edge, and you're not going to have a lot of bulk up into those corners. Okay, now if we take a look at this nail from the side, we still need a little bit more product right through our free edge area. We've got a little bit of, nice and thin and tapered here. We've got a little bit of bulk right up into our stress area. Now, for this next bead, this is going to be kind of our blender bead. For this one, we're going to do a combination of the technique that we used on our free edge as well as what we used up here in the nail body. We're going to use a not quite clay-like, but not completely wet kind of a pearl. Okay, so for this one, we're going to pick up our pearl, just like we did before, press, bounce, bounce. I'm going to just slightly drain, so just dab, drain, lift, and now I'm going to turn my brush around, press that pearl down, and I'm going to blend that backwards. So we're going to blend that back up into our arch, so it blends right up to that high point. Wipe out my brush. Now I can use the belly of my brush to kind of press that product from side to side, move it down the length of the nail. So do you see how this one, it's not running and it's not flowing, but it's not completely in clay form. I still have a little bit of mobility with it, okay? So on that free edge, you want a little bit of mobility, but a little bit of clay form. And then I can just blend that nail back up. So now we've got that really nice structure. We've got a nice thin and tapered cuticle area. We've got a little bit of an arch up into our apex and then flowing down nicely to our free edge. Okay. Now, you guys, before I move on to our second nail, I just want to talk about the kind of the pricing on this nail or this kind of a set. If you guys are doing a nail this set, for me, something like this on all of the nails, to me, that would be kind of my basic set. I personally, and you guys take it for what it's worth, I personally charge $100 for my short or active length nails. This one has a almond shape to it. Normally my standard sets come as a square, okay? If you're adding a different shaping to that, other than square, you would want to charge extra for that because that's going to take a little bit more time, okay? So always make sure that you're adding on those extras for those different things that you're adding. Now, what if we wanted to add in a dimensional nail like I've got on my nails here, okay? That is going to be another story. So we're going to put our cover blush away. I'm going to grab my Speed Clear. I'm going to grab, oops, sorry guys, I'm going to grab my two glitters. Again, we've got Chonky Chonk and Crushed Pearl. So I got our two glitters, and I'm also going to grab my Speed Pink. So these are the colors that we're going to do on our second nail. Now our second nail is already prepped and ready to go. We did that at the start of our stream. So we're going to do the same thing though. We're going to pick up our little tab out of the center. We're going to fold that form over, pinch those two little tabs together nice and evenly, and then we're going to open up that top perforation. Okay. Now on this nail, we're actually going to leave this one nice and long. So I'm not going to pinch my form any shorter, but I am still going to get that right up underneath that free edge, lift up so that it's coming straight out on that form. And then we're going to just pinch that form together nice and tight underneath there, making sure that we've got a good C curve all the way through. Okay. All right. You guys, as this product is setting, I tend to kind of go back and feel it every now and then because I want to make sure that I get a good tight C-curve pinched in there as it's setting. Now, it's got a little bit more time to go, so it's not quite ready for that pinch just yet. But as your product is setting, you can pinch a little bit tighter of a curve right through that free edge to give that nail a little bit more structure on that end, okay? All right, let's get into our longer nail here. So we're going to build out an extension. And again, I'm using our Speed Clear. We're going to use that clay form, just like we were talking about earlier, on our free edge. So we're going to go into our liquid, press out the back. We're going to come into our powder, press, pull, bounce, bounce, bounce. We're going to drain out that extra liquid, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to set that right at my free edge, press that down, wipe out my brush quick. I'm going to press that out so it's even from side to side. Use the edge of my brush to tuck that in and walk that right up into those little corners, pressing straight in. Now coming all the way back across, pressing in on that edge, walk that up into the corner, press in on the edge, walk that bulk up into the corner. Now at this point, we're going to bring this a little bit longer. So we're going to just kind of press that down towards the free edge. Still using the edge of my brush to keep my sidewalls straight. Again, coming in on the sides here, keeping those nice and straight. We're going to bring this all the way down, maybe not quite to the end of our form, but pretty darn close to the end to create a beautiful stiletto nail. Now you guys, we were talking about pricing with our first nail here. I was telling you for a nail like that, I would probably charge 100, or for you guys, sorry, for the full set, I would charge 100, plus I would charge a little bit extra for the shaping on this one. So because it's outside a square shape, so I would probably say $10 to $20 for the shaping. So let's just say 10 for today, okay? This one, we're going to charge 10 for the shaping because it's a custom shape. We're also going to charge an extra 10 to 20 for the length, okay? You guys have to make sure that when you're doing these extra long nails or these longer nails, you have to charge extra for that product and for the time that it's going to take you to do that service, okay? So don't undercut yourself. Don't undercharge, all right? All right, next thing we're going to do is I'm going to open up my glitters here. So again, this one is crushed pearl, and we've also got Chonky Chonk. So those are our two glitters. Let's see if I can give you a better angle there. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to use a little bit of our Speed Clear in a wet form. So like we were doing on our free edge, we drained that out. Back up our cuticle area, we left that wet. That's exactly what we're going to do at this point. We're going to leave that a little on the wetter side. So we're going to pick up that pearl. I'm going to set that right at my cuticle area. I'm going to press that down around my cuticle area. See how I got that nail angled straight downward, letting that product flow down the length of the nail. I'll help it a little bit, just kind of brushing through and blending through. And then I'm going to pick up a little bunch of those pieces of my Mylar with my brush. Now I'm just setting these down into that wet acrylic. So this way they're going to stick right down in there and adhere really well. Now if you feel like maybe your acrylic, especially towards the end here, if you feel like that is starting to set and your product or your Mylar isn't adhering really well, go back in, pick up another small pearl, and you guys, small, okay? Don't pick up anything too large, just a nice small pearl, because we just want to just kind of wash this over that nail. So just kind of washing that over just to re-wet that surface a little bit more. And then we can come back in with a little bit more of that Mylar and get that beautifully placed anywhere you like on that nail, okay? And you guys, this is a great kind of color combination this time of year because people are going to start having holiday parties and things like that. And this is something that you can wear all year long, really, or all season long. And it's not going to clash with different outfits and different things like that. So this is a great option for this time of year. Now, next thing we're going to add in is our glitter. And for this, I'm gonna kind of cheat you guys. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick up just a tiny little pearl on my brush and I'm gonna touch that to my glitter. And then I can just kind of set that down and just kind of let that wet pearl kind of blend in. I'm not trying to completely cover this nail with glitter. I'm just kind of picking up a little bit here and there, and actually I'm going to just dab a little bit more of that glitter right onto that wet acrylic. So just another quick and easy way for you to combine your glitters onto your nails without actually having to mix and create a whole a whole container of your glitter mix. You guys, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get that to focus a little bit better on the nail. You guys, hang on a second. Let me clean my lens really quick just to make sure. All right, there we go. So let's see if you can see that a little bit more clearly now. Okay, there we go. So that's a little bit better. So you can see where all of those glitters are sitting, all of that mylar is. But if we look from the side, we still don't have a lot of structure to this nail. So we're going to go ahead and cap this nail, and we're going to seal all of that glitter in, and we're going to build our structure. Now you could go back in, you guys, I'm just closing up all my containers here, but you could go back in with that speed clear that we were using. I'm actually going to go in with our Speed Pink, and this is going to give it just a little bit of a pink tint to it. So let's come back in here. All right, this first one is setting. You guys, what do you think so far? Are you liking this nail? Are you enjoying this, this color combination? If so, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Let us know that you're enjoying today's live stream. And this way we can offer you a lot more education in the future. But let's keep going on our nail here. So I'm going to come back in again, you guys. This is our Speed Clear. Now, Speed Pink. The Speed Pink is not a super pink color. It's just got a light pink tint to it, and not even, yep, there you go. You can kind of see that. So just a light pink tint to it, but it does come out clear. Okay, clear with a light pink tint. So that's what we're going to use to cap this whole nail. So just like we did on this one, we're going to keep that finger angling downward, and we're going to start at that cuticle area. We're going to pick up a good sized pearl, press, press. I'm going to wait 1, 2, 3. We're going to set that down in that wet form. I'm going to press out that cuticle, pivot my brush on that side, angling that finger straight down, press, pivot my brush. Let that product kind of flow a little bit. Once it stops flowing, then I can lift up, pivot my brush, blend out the side, pivot my brush, blend out that side, and then just blend the edge of that, that pearl forward, okay? This way we're gonna keep that product, kind of keep that bulk of the product or the thickness right through our stress area, which is what we want, okay? And then we'll just kind of feather that out. If we were to blend from all the way back here and pull that product, that's going to flatten out our nail. And especially when we're working on a really long nail like this, we need that little bit of extra bulk right up in through here. Okay. Now, same thing as we did on this one, this first nail. We're going to come back in. We're going to pick up our second pearl, press, bounce, bounce, bounce. I'm going to drain just a little bit. 1, 2. Turn my brush around, set that pearl down, blend back, blend back, blend back, blend back. Again, on those sides, I pivot my brush, okay? Wipe out my brush. I'm going to now use the belly of my brush to press that product down and get that to taper right down to the free edge. So I'm kind of pressing and pulling, so kind of pressing and pulling kind of in one motion, okay? Tucking in those sides, making sure I keep that nice straight edge on those sides. And then again, I can blend backwards to really help to kind of taper and keep that free edge nice and thin and keep that thickness to our product right in the arch, okay? All right, what do you guys think so far? Are we liking the 2 nails so far? I know that they don't look perfect, you guys, but we always say, trust the process. We have to go through and file these nails, so make sure that you are trusting the process. And let me close up my containers and we'll go ahead and file these out. You guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying today's live stream, so that way we can just offer you guys more and more education. And you guys, this is all free education, so hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, but just your time, and you can learn while you're here. So, all right, just closing everything up. I'm gonna open up my dust collector underneath here, and let me come back back out here so you guys can see what's happening. So you guys, I do have my dust collector mounted down into my table. If you are doing nails for any amount of time, even if it's just on yourself, I highly recommend getting a dust collector because that's going to take all of that dust out of your breathing zone so that you're not going to be inhaling that into your nose and into your lungs. Okay, so if you're working with any kind of nail product, a dust collector is going to be your best friend. Okay. Your second best friend is actually going to be your electric file. So let's get into that. So what I've got here is my X-Cut carbide bit, and this is a bit that's designed to shave down product. This bit you are never to use on a natural nail. This is only for working over acrylics or hard gels. Okay. I'm going to turn my dust collector on. I'm going to turn my E-file on to about 15,000 RPMs. Now, to straighten out and shape our nail, we're going to start on our sidewalls. So we're going to start by pulling down on the left side. Oops, there you go. And then we're going to push back on our right side. Okay, you're always going to go in the opposite direction of the rotation of your bit. So you want to have a little bit of resistance. You want to feel a little bit of drag. If I were to just come from this side and push down, my bit is just going to flow down. It's not going to actually file. That's why I need to go backwards. So pushing back, and that's actually going to be filing that edge. Okay, so push back on the right side, pull down on the left side. Now, opposite for lefties. Left-handed technicians, you're going to be, I always have to stop and think about this, but you're going to have your E-file in reverse. For lefties, you're going to be pushing back on the right side. And then, let me think for a second, pushing back. So for lefties, you're going to be pulling down on the right side. So push back on the left side, pull down on the right side, okay? All right, now, if we need to shorten this nail up at all, I can, again, just start on that left side, put a little bit of pressure into that free edge as I come across. So just pull down a little bit of pressure and across. If we want to change the shape, if we want to straighten it out, go a little bit more square, we just come straight across like that, okay? But we're going to keep this at our cute little almond shape. Kind of taper those corners in. And you guys, when I'm working at that free edge, I'm using more of the middle part of the bit. So usually right through this area of the bit. Okay, so pull down, press in, and push up. Round that out just a little bit. Get our shaping, just kind of the perimeter shaping. Now, we're going to turn that nail on the side, and I'm going to check my lower arch here. You guys, when you're working on your lower arches, you want that product to come straight out from that natural nail. So straight in line with this kind of your sidewall right through here, and then straight out. So I actually don't have a lot of product to take down on this side, but just to show you, I'm just going to start at that free edge and just kind of pushing back. So this time, I'm using more of the top part of my bit right through here, pushing in on that side there, okay? We're going to do on the other side. This side has a little bit more product hanging down. So if you take a look from this side, everything that my orange wood stick is covering up, that's all that needs to be filed off. So all of that product hanging below. This side we're going to pull down. Okay, pull down on the left. Now, notice I'm not getting all the way back up in here with my electric file bit. That's okay. I can come back and do that with my E-file. I just want to make sure that I'm not bumping into her skin or anything like that that would cause any damage, okay? So just go back as far as you can. You guys, if you're practicing on these trainer hands, if you do kind of bump that plastic, your bit is going to kind of jump a little bit. So just kind of know that as you're practicing. But you guys, these trainer hands are an excellent tool to practice on, because even if you do accidentally touch the rubber part here, it's not going to cut it or anything like that. So it's a great tool for practicing on. But once we have our shaping in, then we can go to, I'm just going to take a little bit more off that side. Then we can look from the arch view. So that's going to be looking from the side of the nail. Okay, so we're going to be looking from here. Now I'm going to turn this nail just a little bit so I'm looking a little more from the surface. We're going to come up around that cuticle area and thin out that cuticle area. Now when you're working by that cuticle area, you guys, I want you to notice the angle of my bit. The angle of my bit is staying in line with how that product is flowing, okay? So it's kind of a downward angle. What I don't want you guys to do is lift up, okay? We want to make sure that we're using this part of the bit right through here, not just this edge, not just this corner. A lot of times when people work around the cuticle area, they have a tendency to lift up on that handpiece, and that's what's going to cut into either that cuticle area or even down into the nail. So always make sure that you're keeping that bit a little bit more flat on the nail, but following that curve of the arch, okay? So again, coming up around that cuticle area, now we're going to look from that side view, and we're just going to go from the center out to the sides. I'm not trying to go all the way across that whole surface. I'm just coming right down the center of the nail. What I'm looking at from this view is, what does my arch look like? Okay, I want to make sure my product is nice and thin and tapered at my cuticle, a little bit thicker up here into the stress area, and then a little thinner tapered down to that free edge. So all I'm doing is working right from the center out to the sides, okay? And once I have that into place, then I'll look down the barrel of the nail this way. And then I will take down any bulk on the sides of the nail. You see how thick it is over on this side and how thick it is over on this side? We're just going to pull that bit towards ourselves and even that product out. Okay? Coming all the way from one side all the way over to the other. Still have a little bit of thickness right through there, but just contouring all the way through to take down that extra bulk. Okay? Once I have that bulk taken down, then I can come a little bit more through that whole nail. Make sure everything is nice and even. Got a little bit of a lopsided lower arch here, so I'm actually going to turn that back on the side again. Make sure that's coming straight out. Now that's going to look a little bit better down the barrel. Okay, so see how that evened that out a little bit? Still just a little bit low right there, but that's okay. We'll get that with our hand file. Okay. Now, I think we're good with our shaping there. I'm actually going to switch over to my sanding band. So that's the same bit now that we used to prep these nails. So this one I'm going to use up around my cuticle area. With the X-Cut carbide, I had my bit on about, or my E-file on about 15,000 RPMs. Now I'm going to slow this down to about 7,000 RPMs. I'm going to work just in those same areas again. And this way, I'm going to just refine everything a little bit more. So it's just a little bit less filing that I'm going to have to do by hand. So just nice and easy over the whole surface. This one I can actually get a little bit closer up into that sidewall to get that little corner kind of thing that was hanging down. But you guys, make sure that you're not cutting up into that nail, okay? It still has to come straight out there, okay? Same thing, we're going to look straight down the barrel, pull towards myself, make sure everything is looking nice and contoured. And then we can go into our hand filing. Now you guys, I'm going to go through this whole entire process one more time on our other nail here, and then we'll do our hand filing all together, because this one is nice and set now, so that's ready to go. So you guys get to see this one more time. Again, we're going back up to about 15,000 RPMs. We're going to straighten out our sidewalls, come around that free edge, clean up that free edge, push back on our right side, straighten out that right side, turn that nail on the side view, clean up that lower arch, make sure that nail is coming straight out from that lower arch, straight out from that natural nail. Same thing on the right side. This side, whoops, we're going to pull straight down so that lower arch is coming again straight out from that natural nail. Let's take a look at this one from that side view as well. Coming up around that cuticle area, tapering that cuticle in, and now we're going to look from that arch view. Right down the arch of the nail, putting a little bit of pressure right into that high point to take down a little bit of that bulk, but then down into that free edge. And you guys notice how my bit kind of goes with the contour that I'm trying to create. I'm working to thin and taper down into that cuticle area, keeping my product about the right thickness here, and then tapering my bit down like this to taper in that free edge and get that nice and thin and tapered down. Kevin is asking, can I subscribe? Absolutely, Kevin. We love it when you guys subscribe. So anybody that has that same question, if you're wanting to subscribe, absolutely. Hit that subscribe button. We'd love for you to join our community. So now we're going to look again straight down the barrel of the nail. This one again, you guys, you can see right down the middle how we took down that bulk. Now we're just going to come down those sides, contour in those sides, take down that thickness all the way through that side. Same thing over on our right side, taking down that thickness just by pulling forward. And you guys, as you do subscribe, please also know that we have over 3,000 videos here in our YouTube library for you. It's all free education. You can watch the videos over and over as many times as you would like. All of our live streams, we do also post those. So if there's something that maybe you missed today in the live stream, you can always go back and rewatch that again as well. So definitely subscribe, get involved in our community here, and get all of that great free education. Okay, same thing as we just did on the other nail, switched over to my sanding band here. Gonna come up around that cuticle area, down along these edges. Now you guys, as I'm working on this nail, you're gonna notice that I am gonna have to spend a little bit more time and a little bit more effort on this nail versus this nail, because this nail is going to be a little bit longer. It's going to be a little bit more of a kind of a perfected shape. So you have to make sure that you are charging more. So remember when I said that a set of this style nail is going to be $100? When I'm doing any kind of stiletto sets, I'm going to charge an extra $10 to $20 for the extra length, and an extra $10 to $20 for that custom shaping. So make sure, again, you guys, when you are doing nails, if you're doing nails in salon, make sure that you are charging for all of these things. Now, you guys, we haven't even talked about charging for the dimension on this nail, but we'll talk about that maybe at the end. So let's get into our hand filing. We're going to come in along our sidewalls here. We're going to straighten out our sidewalls. We're going to clean up that free edge, just kind of rounding into that almond shape. Same thing on my other side, straighten out that left side, kind of rounding into my almond shape. Now you guys, here's the thing, make sure when you're filing, especially on longer nails, we're really going to focus on doing that on our longer nail here, but make sure that you're balancing on the opposite side. So whatever side you're filing on, make sure that you're putting pressure on the opposite side so that nail doesn't wobble back and forth, okay? Just a little bit of pressure just to kind of hold it into place. And we're going to clean up that free edge. And you guys, I'm not going to spend a ton of time perfecting that free edge from this view. We'll get to that. But at this point, I'm just going to come up around my cuticle area, taper in my cuticle area. Let me come back out so you can see a little bit better. And we're going to come up and around those sidewalls, up and around, up and around. This way, we're going to take out kind of that corner that we put in. When we're filing straight, we get a little bit of a straight edge here, so we want to make sure that we're rounding out those sides to get rid of that corner, okay? Tapering in those sides, contouring in those sides, and then I turn the nail and look at it from the side. Whoops, you guys, we forgot to do our lower arches, so let's clean up our lower arches. Bring those straight out from that natural nail. Same thing on the other side. And you guys, again, this is where we're going to be able to get that little corner edge. So that little piece that's hanging right down there. Now, the tendency that people try to do is they tend to come in from this angle so they can get that little corner, okay? You guys, what that's going to do is that's actually going to cut a little notch right up into the corner of the nail. So we want to make sure that we're starting more from that free edge and just working up and into that. Still keeping that file straight in line so that nail is still coming straight out. And now we have that little corner taken out with no notch in there, okay? And let's see, purple, E. coli, OMG, how late am I? You're about 58 minutes late, but that's okay. You can stick around and watch the rest of our video. We've got a little bit of time to go here. Got our second nail to finish up here. Now, let's go on to our second nail. So just like we did on that first nail, we're gonna start on our sides, clean up that free edge. Now with my stiletto, actually let's go back to the almond shape. With the almond, I was kind of rounding that edge a little bit more. With our stiletto, we're gonna keep that file a little bit more straight, okay? We want a nice straight free edge for that stiletto. Same thing though, I'm balancing with my other fingers here to keep that nail nice and straight, okay? We're going to turn that on the side, look at that lower arch view, clean up that lower arch so that that file is coming nice and straight out from that natural nail. Same thing on the other side. Keep that lower arch right underneath there. You guys, again, people have more of a tendency to start back up in this corner here, but that's going to cut in. So start with your pressure right under your free edge, do a little bit of filing, and then that's going to bring your file right up into that straight line for that lower arch. Okay, so again, see how nice and straight out that lower arch is coming right out there. Okay, same thing as we did before. We're going to work up around that cuticle area and down along these sides. Now you guys notice that as I'm filing the free edge of this nail, I do keep my finger underneath there again for support, because with this long nail, if we put a lot of pressure on that free edge, that's going to be kind of painful on that client's finger and that nail bed. So keep a little bit of balance underneath there. Keep that finger under there so you are not lifting up on that nail bed. All right, the same thing, we're going to turn this on the side. We're going to clean up that arch. I'm just filing backwards to put a little bit of pressure right through our free edge here and pulling my file back. That way we're keeping our thickness right through our stress area and keeping that bulk in there. Okay, at this point, you guys, I'm going to take this client's hand. I'm going to go from this position. I'm going to have her turn her hand over, and we're going to check her nails from this direction, okay? I always check my client's nails from this direction so that I can see what my client is seeing. I want to make sure that when she goes home and she's looking at her nails like this, she sees beautiful straight nails. So that's why I'm going to do my finished filing from this direction. And then I'm also going to, let me show you here, I'm going to angle that finger down, and I'm going to look backwards down the barrel to make sure that everything is nice and even. And as you're looking from this direction, you kind of can rock that finger back and forth, up and down like that, so that you can see all the way down from cuticle all the way through to that free edge, and make sure that there's no lumps or bumps, high spots, low spots, or anything like that. Okay, so make sure you're checking those nails from all different directions so that you can see if there's anything that needs to be filed down. And I think we are good there. All right, you guys, what do you think so far? If you are enjoying our live stream, again, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you are liking what you're seeing and you want to come back, hit that subscribe button. That way we know that you guys are learning and you're getting something out of all of this free education. So you guys, we are here for you. We want to make sure that you're learning some good nail techniques, and hit that subscribe button. Then we can come back and do this all over again next week. All right, same thing though on those sides. I'm really checking to make sure that everything is nice and straight. We're gonna look again backwards down the barrel, checking those edges, making sure everything is even. And you guys, again, these longer nails take a little bit more time, they take a little bit more effort, they take a little bit more product. So if you are doing longer nails, again, make sure that you're charging an additional cost for that. I would say at least $10 to $20 depending on the length of the nail. For a long stiletto like this, I would probably charge an extra $20. Okay, now we haven't talked about the dimension, and I know that you guys want to know how much you would charge for the dimension. So let's talk about that, okay? So on our first nail here, we didn't add anything in, we didn't add anything wild and crazy, but on this one, on this nail here, we actually added in 2 different glitters and all of that length and shape. Now when I'm adding in glitters to my nails, if I'm doing a nail like this where it's actually built into that nail, I charge at least an additional $10 per nail just to do that dimension, okay? Now, on my sets, I include 1 glitter, but if you want to charge extra for it, you can charge extra for it. But for each additional glitter, I charge an extra $5. So on this nail here, we've got 2 different glitters in there. So I would include this one in that $10 that I'm charging for this nail. And then I'm going to charge her an additional $5 for this glitter, okay? So you guys, the number of nails times 10 or 20, depending on how you charge, plus $5 per glitter after that, okay? So you guys, I'm going to show you. If you take a look at my nails, on my full set here, my full set, again, would start at $100 for just the basic solid color, okay? And then I would add on a $10 upcharge because I've got a custom shape on my nail. So you guys, you're going to have to help me on this. Help me remember. So for my set, we're starting at 110. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different nails of dimension. Okay, so those 5 nails are going to be an additional $50. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay. All right, you guys, I lost track already. But on top of that, I'm going to include the 1 glitter into my nail design. Okay. But I am going to charge an additional $5 for the extra glitter that I put in. Okay, so hopefully you guys are following along with that pricing, and hopefully it makes sense to you. But you guys, I always like to talk pricing because it's important. You know, you guys saw that this nail was quick and easy. This nail took a little bit more time, took a little bit more effort. Okay, so make sure that you are charging appropriately. Now, we've got one other add-on here to upcharge, and that is going to be kind of that smoky look that I've got to my nail here. So we're just going to clean these nails off with a little bit of swipe. And then we're going to apply our protein bond so that we get really great adhesion. But you guys really make sure you get all of that dust off the nail, and even from underneath. Make sure that you're cleaning out all the way underneath, okay? Now, you guys, I know that there's some of you in the chat that are saying that is way too high, that, you know, I'm overcharging. You guys, here's the thing. If I were to do a set of nails just like this one, that'll take me maybe an hour for that full set, okay? If I'm doing a full set of nails like this, that's going to take me at least an hour and a half, even up to 2 hours, okay? So why would I charge $100 for something that's going to take me an hour, but I'm not going to charge $200 for something that takes me 2 hours? You guys, you have to make sure that you're charging accordingly so that you can make the same per hour, whether you're working and you're doing a regular set like this or a dimensional set like this. I know so many nail techs that they undercharge for their dimensional work and for their art that they might as well just go work at a fast food place for minimum wage. Because you guys, if you're not charging properly for all of these add-ons, why are you doing it? Okay, I know you guys love doing nails. I know you want to do it because it's fun. But you guys, if you're doing nails for a career, if you're doing nails to put food on your table, you have to be charging these prices appropriately so that you can make some money, so that you can live a comfortable life and not living quote unquote paycheck to paycheck. Okay, so you guys make sure that you are charging. Charge your prices. Take what I'm telling you and charge it, you know, charge accordingly. But at least charge. You know, if you are doing dimensional nails, at least charge something for that dimensional nail. Maybe you would charge $5 per nail. That's okay. You know, I would say 10 because it is a lot more work and it's more product, it's more effort, it's more knowledge, it's more skill, all of these things. But you guys, charge something, okay? So, let's see, somebody's saying a full set is all 10 fingers, right? Yes, you guys, so let me show you this one more time, okay? So on my full set, if I were just doing all of my nails this color and this shape and style, this full set would be $100 for the set, just of this color, and then an extra 10 for that custom shaping. So $110 for just this pink short almond set, okay? That's what I would charge. Now, I'm adding in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different dimensional nails at $10 per nail. That's an additional $50, okay? So this would be 100, where are we at? 100, what do we say? 150s, 160, okay? And then I'm going to charge an additional for an extra glitter, okay? So you guys, I know, again, it sounds like a lot, but here's the thing also. Nails are not a necessity. And I hate saying that, but they're not. Nails are a luxury, okay? And if clients, maybe that's not in their price range, then we choose something else, and that's okay. All right. Let's get on to our next little add-on here that we're going to do. We're going to go in with our stain-resistant top coat. Actually, you guys, let me put my table towel back up here. So we've got a nice clean space. And then I'm also going to grab my ceramic tile. So I've got a little ceramic tile, and I'm going to put a little bit of our white 101 gel polish onto our mixing tile. We're going to use that, and I'm also going to grab from our 6-piece brush set our long striper brush. And there we go. So that's our long striper brush. Okay. So we're going to go in with a coat of our stain resistant top coat. We're going to polish that on a nice even coat. We're not going too thick or too thin. We don't want the product running, but we want a nice even layer of that. Okay, now I'm going to come in nice and close so you can see this really good. And we're going to take a little bit of that white gel polish, and I'm just going to, maybe a little bit more, just going to kind of drag that through, kind of wiggling that. And I'm going to let this flow. And you guys, the reason that I use the stain resistant top coat is because this works kind of like a blooming gel. So it's going to help to kind of let that white gel polish kind of smoke out a little bit, just kind of get kind of more of that, just kind of flow to it. So just kind of working that through. And you guys, you can adjust how you apply that however you like. If you like where it's at, get it into the light and set it into place, okay? The longer you let it flow, the more it's going to spread out. But if you like it how it is, get it into the light. So I'm going to get that into our UV light here, right behind me. And we're just going to set that into place really quick for about, oh, I would say about 10 to 30 seconds, okay? And then we'll go through and we'll do a final top coat. So those of you that have been with our crew here for a while, you guys know what time it is. It is time to start the top coat chant. So if you don't know what our top coat chant is, first of all, you're probably new to our channel, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. But then you can just put into our chat, top coat, top coat, top coat. So you guys hit those top coat buttons, get that top coat chant in there, hit that subscribe button, and I am going to finish both of these nails with our Ultimate Finish top coat. And the reason that I like our Ultimate Finish top coat is because it's a nice, easy top coat to use. It is a tack-free finish, so you don't have to worry about wiping anything off of that. You could finish these nails with that stain-resistant top coat that I had if you would like to. Totally fine. Just do a second coat of that, cure that one. The stain resistant does have a tacky finish, so when you do cure the stain resistant, you do need to use the swipe to cleanse that tacky surface off. Okay, so just know that. But again, we're using the Ultimate Finish on these two to give them a nice quick shine, nice quick finish here. We'll get that into the light. I'm going to just cure these really quick here for about 30 seconds, but you guys, a full cure is going to be 60 seconds, okay? So make sure you fully cure those. You know what, you guys, let me just flip around here really quick. I just want to say a quick hello. Thank you guys all for joining us today. I know I had mentioned our text community and your extra, did I mention your extra 5% off of our sale? Maybe I didn't. You guys, all of the products that I've been using today, this is all Young Nails product. Youngnails.com is where you can get all of this. We are having our huge Black Friday sale coming up. It starts at 9 a.m. Pacific time on November 6th. So it is coming up. We have almost a whole month-long sale. Everything is going to be at least 30% off. And if you text us at our text community, and I'll give you the number in just a second here, so grab a pencil and paper. But if you text us, tell us that you want an additional 5% off, and we will send you a code. I think we'll send it the day before the sale. So text us 714-274-7323, and hopefully our moderators can get that into the chat for you guys if you missed it. But 714-274-7323, we will text you an extra 5% discount. We're also going to be having some bundle deals. You guys, they're going to be amazing. A bunch of new product launches. We're going to have mystery boxes, so all kinds of great things. You guys, unfortunately, this is US only. US and Canada only. If you are in Canada, you can jump on our website as well, youngnails.com, scroll all the way to the bottom, and there'll be a thing that you can click on to change to Canada, okay? So you can definitely do that. But you guys, start filling your baskets, start loading up your cart on the website. You can definitely do that. And again, all of the products that I've used today are Young Nails, so youngnails.com. So let me flip back around. I will show you our finished nail. And we'll take a look here so you guys can see what both of these designs are going to look like. So you guys, again, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We have over 3,000 videos here on our YouTube channel for you, just to give you a ton of education, and you guys make sure that you come back. You guys, Aussies, Alexa's asking about the Aussies. You guys, we have a great distributor in Australia. You can go to our youngnails.com website and scroll again to the bottom, and there is a place where you can find your local distributor. I know we've got an amazing distributor there in Australia. We've got a great Fateful Events. We've got a great distributor in the UK, so make sure you find their information. All kinds of distributors in other different countries. They're probably not going to be doing our same Black Friday sale, but you guys can definitely check with them and see what sales and deals they've got. So definitely check with them. Again, you guys, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you guys back next time. Oh, Bebob, we do have, I believe we do have another distributor in Netherlands as well, so make sure you check with them too, okay? You guys check the website if you are not in the US, and scroll down and find your local distributor, and they will help you out. And yeah, thank you guys so much. We will see you again next time. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Thank you.